Well, it's time for your national forecast. We are in storm center coverage with a potent winter storm on the way. Now we can see south of the border the heavy amounts of snow, potentially historic freezing rain impacts as well for a number of states, but we'll be touching on how this is impacting us in Canada in a moment. But first, let's head to the western side of the country. Not really feeling much in the way of winter storms, but how about these wind chill values on our Sunday morning at the -50 for Winnipeg, -53 for Brandon. So quite a chill continues to be the story. Now into the afternoon, we can see that sort of temperature disparity. Once you get west of Saskatchewan, we start to see some improvement, and then into BC, where the national hotspot has been focused over the past few days. But in terms of active weather, well, not much of that. A bit of light snowfall moving through Manitoba on our Monday, but beyond that, it's just going to be focused on the cold. Now, some windy conditions into our Monday morning, so we'll look out for how that might be impacting wind chill values. Now, for Regina, we see that temperature pattern gradually improving on the final day of January. Looks like we'll be warmer than usual, and then into the first day of February. Again, a above average temperature. How about this for a 7-day forecast in the prairies? After a chilly Monday, Calgary going to be above freezing for those daytime highs, looks like, all the way through to the start of February. Now, not much in the way of active weather for southern BC. It does look like more central and northern coastal areas will be getting a bit busier, but beyond that, it's going to be more the wind we could start to see impacting more southern parts of BC. So there's a look here into our Monday afternoon and evening parts of the island, especially a gusty pattern, but all in all, still some sunny skies into southern areas, but not for long as Vancouver starts to see the rainy weather build back in midweek through this coming weekend. Let's talk about this big winter storm. Yes, we are starting to see those impacts now for Ontario and Quebec, and ultimately into our Monday. The Maritimes could be dealing with heavy snowfall, dangerous driving conditions. Now, the cold is kind of the same old story. We've been feeling the frigid temperatures, but what's new into the mix is the snow. Look at the forecast here. So for Ontario and southern Quebec, you can see extreme southern areas will be getting those heavier snowfall amounts, and potentially the highest snowfall totals for areas like Toronto, as we can get a sense here, big picture of how this is starting to build in into the early to mid-afternoon, pardon me, through the evening as well, and then into southern Quebec, the snowfall into our Monday morning. So maybe not as heavy as snowfall, still looking to be disruptive, nation's capital as well, for the beginning of our work week. We're expecting snow days. We'll be keeping a close eye on just how much this snow is shutting down our regular activities as we head into the start of the work week. But one thing's for sure, as the snow starts to get its most intense for areas like Toronto, going to be enhanced by some lake effect activities. So Sunday travel plans, if you're in the area, especially the Golden Horseshoe, hopefully you can cancel that and stay safe and stay put, because not only the snow, the cold as well. Again, another factor on top of all this. So here's a look at the gusty conditions, timing up with that heaviest snowfall for areas into the afternoon, early part of the evening. Reduced visibility, one more thing to consider for those who have to drive, but please, again, something to avoid if you can. And for southern Quebec, a look at that timing of the snow arriving this evening and overnight, but it's really going to be into the morning, again, when we see the challenging travel, and that will likely continue into the late afternoon and evening for some in Quebec. So a day of snow, granted not as high as snowfall totals forecast, but still enough to make for miserable Monday travel. Now, speaking of Monday snowfall, well, that's what we're expecting for the Maritimes, and later into Tuesday, looks like Newfoundland could be dealing with the snow. But yes, Atlantic Canada feeling the impacts as well. Cold temperatures continue, but as we time out that snowfall after some CF activity isolated for our Sunday, overnight into the early hours of our Monday, heavier pockets of snow pushing in. So by the time many are waking up, heading to work, could already have that layer of snow that will just continue throughout the day for many. And just like we've seen in parts of Ontario, gusty conditions as well will reduce visibility, adding to those dangerous travel conditions.